How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I've got the gameplay for both missions to unlock the garage on the Imandra map. I'm starting right now from the gateway, so even if you've not scouted this map before, I'm just going to skip ahead 10 foot because that snow's really slow. Yeah, even if you've not scouted this before, you could follow this video and get these missions done and get the garage unlocked. It's not too bad in the end, to be honest. When I originally looked at it, I was like, God damn, this feels like it was going to take ages. I'm kind of happy in the end with how the missions went. You'll see as it plays out. Again, there's not many edits in this footage. It's like 99%, but I'm going to cut ahead another like 5 truck lengths there. I was just trying to keep the video still under 50 minutes. Like I said, there's about 99% of the gameplay. The only bits I cut is where like you can see straight ahead of me and it's just a bit of a slow bit. So yeah, 49. I managed to get it just under, trying to fit it all in. That's what she said. Story of my goddamn life. So anyway, as you go down the first road, I would cut across that snow that I did, because then you come onto the lake from the left-hand side. If you follow the road round, it's basically going to make you get to this lake from the right-hand side, and all the ice is breakable on that side, and it's just a lot worse. I just take my word for it. I found out the hard way. I'd go round to the left, and you see that I went a little bit too far over, and I hit a lot of that breakable ice. Just cut nice and close to where, like, yeah, that's already been smashed out, and there's water there. Because the edges of that are always pretty solid, the same on Lake Covd really. Here's my twin steer, now it's got all-wheel drive. And for now, just heading basically to the airport, so now I'm off the lake, I'm back onto the normal road. Again, even if you've not scouted so far, it uncovers a little bit of the map ahead, so you'll be able to check the map and you'll know exactly where you're going. This is gonna kind of be one of the main roads in the game. It's certainly the main road from the gateway to the airport, and then you'll see the way I take from the airport, and I actually think it's a lot quicker overall. Again, just cut out that 10 foot of snow because it's like ridiculously slow for no apparent reason. To be fair, these two together went through it pretty well. So basically there's the airport to the left, and you can follow that wiggly road round, but then the bridge is out. But if you go up here and just, I was looking then, I was like, sod it, there's a gap in these trees. So I'm basically now, that was a glitch, but I am only about a truck length or two ahead. Yeah, so I didn't turn left to go to the airport, I just carried straight on. And then now, as you get to these first rocky bits, like, there's not enough trees to block you or anything, and you can cut across here. I found, to be fair, the Dolphin and the Vorongard did pretty damn well on this mission. It's pretty nice choices. A few other combinations I would have happily tried. I suppose like the Taiga, because my Taiga's already out in the middle of nowhere and I didn't want to recover it to Lake Covd. But I obviously haven't got the garage until I did this mission, so that's why I had a Dolphin sat around. I had the Vorongard. I admit I could have gone round a little bit more to the right. I just went for it though. Fancied risking it. I figured at least one of them would land on their wheels, and yeah, it did alright, to be fair. Landed on its nose, I got down there, both of them together, worked out pretty well. So now I'm on the beach of, like, there's a big bit of water cutting across the map, and up ahead you'll see where the bridge is out, but sort of next to the bridge there's like a rock, and there's a few of these slabs that cross over the river, and they look pretty narrow, but I've drove a few trucks over them, and to be fair, I don't know, unless it's like even the P16, the inside track of it, it'd probably stay on them. But yeah, the Dolphin, stuff like that went over it, so you'll see them now. The only thing I will say, you see that one, like that slab I just clipped there, that it actually moved? These slabs over here can move, and not only that, I'll do it for a separate gameplay, I'll show you a bit later. I ended up having to bring Bruce out. I might make another just like gameplay of Bruce doing his thing, because yeah, the Azov, whatever, it's 7 something, Bruce, is pretty good on this map, to be honest. But yeah, when I came across here in my Azov Antarctic earlier, it glitched into one of those slabs that wobbled, and I basically got stuck and I fell off to the side in the end. So just bear it in mind that they can be a bit trollish. So now I'm over the other side of that river though. I've got that big long, like a fairly main road, but it's icy. Like, if you have anything except chained, you're going to slip around like crazy. So here's the first mission, Broken Power Station. I've got to get 2 lots of metal beams from that place and take it, as you've seen on the map, just over to the left. yeah, to kind of, a power station. So I'm going to follow that big main road round, and when I get almost like opposite the trailer store, I'm going to cut up this road. I'm not going to draw every little dot, but yeah, it's one road up there. That's where I get the metal beams from. And like I said, I reckon this is a pretty quick way overall. Obviously, if I was going to drive it again just now and I wasn't stopping to check the map and draw the dots, etc., I could probably drive from the Imandra gateway to, say, not then like the metal beams place, just say the trailer store that's at the bottom of like the last little snowy hill, really. Yeah, I could probably get there in like 5 minutes, so that's what I kind of found a bit with Lake Coved as well. It felt a bit slow, especially with the amount of super snow on it if you ventured away from the roads, but now I've got used to the map, I can travel across Lake Coved pretty quickly, and I suppose it's getting to the point the same with this. I mean, scouting it originally took me, I don't know, 4 to 6 hours. I mean, there was a little bit of messing around in there and so on, but yeah, it definitely was it made you earn every metre, whereas now, just because I'm getting used to where the super snow bits are, where the icy bits are, little shortcuts, little yeah, ways to shave off the time, it's like that. I can travel across the map pretty quickly now. Can you hear that in the background, by the way? There's a sound of a helicopter flying. I've heard it a few times, but I've never seen a I've not seen one flying, and I don't think there is, because I had a pretty good look around. It's done it a few times for me, but yeah, it'd be pretty cool if you could see a few helicopters flying around up in the air. Well, not a few, but even one every now and then. It'd be a little bit more life to the maps. Yeah, so this main road along here, generally speaking, you see some rocks and little bits of super snow. It's not a bad road, but when I originally scouted this, I was in the Taiga that's got the custom muds, and I had a loaf on me that had the just the normal, like the loaf muds. This road is an absolute complete sheet of black ice. If you've got anything except chained, I'd be skidding off now to the right, and I'd just be wheel spinning. Especially, like, at least when I was scouting, I was heading down the hill, trying to get back up the thing would be nigh on impossible. Like, you'd be best off driving along the banks at the edge if that was the case. But yeah, because I got chained on, I do think it's quite cool, say short-term wise. It kind of catches you out a bit, and I was like, alright, fair enough. That's quite clever, quite a little challenging element. Like, it just puts a lot of camber on the road and it's a complete sheet of ice. But long-term gameplay-wise, it just means I'm going to keep chained on. Like, there isn't, unless, yeah, the Taiga I might leave the custom muds on, but I'll bear in mind not to head over to this side of the map if I have got that. Even that little rocky channel I just went down then, that's a complete sheet of ice as well, which I think they should tone that down a bit. I'm cool with the road being a sheet of ice, because, like, fair enough, it is a, you know, part of the game, and that I'm cool with that. But yeah, them rocky bits don't even feel like they should be like that, because I don't really think ice would just form in a perfect sheet on a rocky, dodgy bit like that. But essentially, though, I'm still following the main road, so we've not ventured too far off the path or anything. The only time I did, really, I just used the shortcut to cross over that river bit. Saves, well, I was going to say following the windy road, but the bridge was out anyway, so even when you get there, you'd have to cut across. So to my left now is a warehouse. You can grab, I think there was bricks and fuel barrels or something from there, a couple of things. And then just next to it is the trailer store now, which I'm going into. To be fair, the trailer store's handier than the garage at the minute, because I can spawn a trailer, fix everything up, which is what I've done now. An unstoppable machine of dolphin justice. Oh my god, dolphin down. SOS, because I didn't have a loaf with me, you see. I've got to send in the tuna. Of course, it's no problem though. We're done. To be fair, considering how many rocks and everything I've flown over tonight, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I did get a bit screwed over. I got a dodgy bounce and I was gone. Definitely glad I didn't have metal beams on me at the time, because I would have lost them and I would have been a lot less impressed. A lot less relaxed about the situation. So anyway though, drove forward. Pretty much after the trader store, you turn right and you cut through here. It's pretty cool, to be honest. I've only taken this shortcut. You can see, like, there's more rock to the right of me in a very steep turning angle. Like, I wouldn't be able to make it anyway, even if I attempted it. So I'm just kind of inventing the way as I go. I climbed up. I assume there'll be something to do here later on, especially with those little, like, ramps at the side, like rock ramps that you'll probably have to climb up, do some kind of endurance thing. What's that, I don't know, where they use bikes but they kind of jump over everything, like they can't it's like the floor is lava taken to the extreme. I mean, I don't even know what the sport's called. I remember the guy who's pretty good at it, it's called Dougie Lampkin. That'll ring a bell to someone. But that looks like a mini version of what that those rocks in the middle of there were. And basically now, as I'm driving up here, this is one of the only bits I'm just going to cut out a little bit. I'm about to drive back down the exact same route, and as you can see, there's nothing special going on. It's just driving very slow. As you climb your way up here, I'll look on the map now. You can see the road anyway. Just follow the road, and that's it. It's pretty damn easy. Again, I'm about to drive back down anyway, so you'll see the exact same road, but here I am just getting near to the top. It just saved about probably 2 or 3 minutes out of the video, just for the sakes of like that one little S-bend really. But yeah, this is where you get the metal beams from, apparently. Looks pretty disused to me, but I'll take it. Yeah, metal beams. Obviously you need 2 lots of them, so I personally, for multiple reasons, prefer bringing 2 trucks. This is a trophy, like a contest thing called, I can't even see because it shrinks screen, dirty something. Why don't they make the writing bigger? Still pretty proud of my eyeballs that they deciphered dirty though. See, not born with that. That's instilled. That's trained over years. So yeah, I'm about to go back down the same road. This time, the old tuner, he's up in front, the dolphin's behind. But like I say, it's the exact same road. The only reason why I left, say, this side in versus going on the way up, I suppose it's downhill, it's probably a tad quicker, but other than that, I've got the metal beams on me now on both trucks, so it's kind of higher stakes. If I roll, the metal beams are going, then I'm going to have to bloody turn around, go back up there. And I suppose at this point, because I've not got a loaf on me, I've not got any spare fuel, other than obviously what these two have got between them. I do think, to be honest, I can probably see why they haven't done it, because it'd be pretty damn OP and unstoppable, but the dolphin in particular could definitely fit some kind of roof rack. I mean, if you've seen some of the previous videos, I use the roof of the dolphin as like an extra cargo place, especially if you've got the crane as well. It will stay on there if you haven't got the crane, but I'll admit you're pushing your luck then, unless you're just going down a road. But if you've got the crane, just wedge the arm down on top of a piece of cargo on top of your head, and yeah, it's an extra slot. If you've got the ramped flatbed and the cargo, sorry, the sideboard, and then a piece of cargo on your head, that's what, 7 pieces of cargo in one truck. I like them numbers. So as you can see as well, all my tyre tracks that I've just drove all the way up here, to be honest, half the reason I cut it out, it was very uneventful. I had this where it was almost a roll on the way down, but on the way up I had nothing like that. It was just literally a slow drive through the snow, and I just figured, yeah, there's 50 minutes of gameplay in here, I'll snip that little bit out. Got my sideboard caught on that tree. Luckily, the tuna, the Vorongrad's pretty good. I don't know why I name it after fish or sea-based creatures, but we'll figure that out one day. Yeah, I'm tilting over pretty far to the left. This thing is pretty good for not tipping. And luckily, the dolphin has given me a little extra bit of encouragement to get through there, and we're off. After driving them both like this as well, trying to think which one I'd prefer as the lead truck. I don't know, to be honest. There's good points and bad points about both. I mean, the Vorongrad's definitely pretty capable as being the lead truck. I would say the Dolphin overall, it's got more axles, more tyres, so I probably would say there's certain situations where it does grip more and push more, but yeah, it'll just ram into the back of the Vorongard and give me a little bit of boost. I also believe I'm probably using more fuel by driving the Vorongard. Not more fuel, actually, kind of the opposite. Like, I've got more fuel in this, and I don't know how much the Dolphin is using now while I'm towing it, but I'll be willing to guess it's less than I'd be using if I was driving it, because especially over this sort of terrain, if I was in like high range gear or whatever in the Dolphin now, it does go up to like the mid-20s on the fuel it can. Once the Dolphin's up to speed, if you were going down a road and you're already, say, up in 8th gear, the fuel usage does drop right down, but when it's coming over, like climbing over tough terrain and that, it's, yeah, it can use it pretty quick. You can see though, basically, where I just stopped there, just to the left was the trailer store, so I've refueled and repaired both of them, and then grabbed a maintenance trailer to take with me. Again, I got stuck in there for a minute or two. It's just slow snow. In the end, I split them up and just winched this lamppost and dragged them both through. You can see the Dolphin's getting through with no problem really. Once the I've winched from the middle of the Dolphin to the telegraph pole, and by the time I get to here, I can winch to the Voron. But when I sent the Voron through, I believe I left it in anyway, I was able to reach like a dead tree in the middle of the road to the left of me, so it was pretty easy. So that's yeah, just at the other side of there, you got this tree that's fallen over the road that you can't knock out of the way. Like, it's designed to be just another trollish bit of the map. But the Dolphin climbed over it no problem. So the Voron grabbed it as well. It was certainly encouraged a little bit by me pulling it along, but the nose clearance on the Voron grad's pretty decent. So now I'm going to follow this pretty main road straight along. I'm going to go through some like kind of little village looking thing, and then we're going to drive past the garage, but obviously at the minute it's not unlocked, so it's irrelevant to me. I can't recover there, I can't spawn any trucks there or anything like that. There is a fuel tanker in there though, so if you do get to this point and you fancy a top up, I would say on this game, even if you don't think you need fuel, if you see any trailer nearby, just grab it and use it for now, because you can always replace them later, or you can top them up later. Like basically the what do you call it, like the fuel trailer that's inside the garage compound for me, I obviously used like 500 to 1,000 litres over the last day or two from it. Now I've got the garage up and running, I just spawned Bruce a few times out the garage, gave all my fuel from Bruce to the trailer and re-top the trailer back up, so I can always, if I want, just nip back to other trailers and just, yeah, sacrifice the truck, dump the fuel in it and recover. But they're handy at the minute, especially while you're actually working your way to getting the garage open. And yeah, it's relatively slow progress through here. If I wasn't doing tandem trucks, I'd be able to go quicker. I'd probably be in high gear now with the Dolphin. However, you've got to deliver 2 lots of metal beams to this power station, so I'm going to have some kind of setup. I'd either have to have the Dolphin on its own with a semi-trailer, I suppose the Dolphin on its own with a ramped flatbed, or the Dolphin towing a 2-slot trailer, which would probably still be able to get into high gear for the most part. Well, I'm in high gear now, so yeah, definitely would. However, as you see when I rolled the Dolphin, if that happened to me and I had the trailer behind me or whatever, I'd now have to be driving a truck, unless I've already got another one on the map that I've essentially pre-prepared. I'd have to drive a truck, or recover the Dolphin to the Lake Cobd garage, drive all the way over the Lake Cobd map, and especially where I rolled near the trailer station, a good 3/4 over this map. Well, you'll see a little later on, something does end up going a bit wrong, a bit wrong, and I have to bring a Bruce. And the reason I've cut basically all that out is because, again, it'd make the video longer, and I'll probably do that for a separate gameplay, because like I said, Bruce was doing pretty nicely on this map. But yeah, that one little mistake alone cost me easily half an hour, I would have said. And I didn't mind, it was part of the fun, part of the game, but just, yeah, it certainly wasn't my choice. I didn't plan on doing it. Yeah, I was reading something earlier I thought was pretty funny and pretty crazy. There's I think it was in Canada, don't know what's going on, but there was some guy who was going out with a woman has been ordered to pay 50 grand a month in, like, I assume alimony or whatever they call it. And they were never married, they never lived together, and they were just basically dating for like 5 years or something. And yeah, he's got to give her, what's that, 600 grand a year for, I think it's the next 10 years, so he's got to give her 6 million quid because he dated her. It's like, they're going crazy. And it kind of linked to another thing which I thought was just funny for a separate reason. But obviously most of you all know Dr. Dre. He's divorcing his wife, and she's put in a claim basically while they're getting divorced. She wants to be paid $2 million a month just whilst they settle the divorce, which I assume she basically wants. She's going for that in the divorce. £2 million a month, like, off the top of my head, that's 24 million or dollars, sorry, not pounds, a year. But I suppose it makes no odds. It does in the exchange rate wise, but it's dollars in America, it's pounds over here. It's like $1 to you is like £1 to me, I suppose. Yeah, that's $24 million a year. If she was alive for 10 years, that's 240 million. That's $250 million. Like, if she was alive for, what, 41, 42 years, that'd be $1 billion for, I don't know, for used to being married to Dr. Dre. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they should, like, get nothing, but the, yeah, some of these divorce settlements and that are getting, like, just ridiculous. Like, how the hell? How could you even ask? The bit I found funny about it, to be honest, was the $2 million a month. Was she had to kind of itemise why she needs $2 million a month, and some of the things were like, there was 100 grand for a mortgage, which is obviously insane to most people, but okay, at a push, like, I'd say he was a billionaire, but she wasn't. Yeah, some of the other things were like, one of them was entertainment, whatever that means, $900,000 a month. It's like, that's $30,000 a day that she wants just for entertainment. One of them as well, it was 125 grand for a month for charitable donations. It's like, oh well, how very charitable of you to donate your ex-husband's money with such generosity. That must really help you sleep at night. By the way, just quickly, I carried along that road. I turned right. I just cut through all that icy bit, which is pretty slow, pretty long. But after you get through it, I've got to turn right. I just drove past by like a truck length, so yeah, I just quickly reversed it. And I'm going to cut across this lake. I believe this is like the easiest, best way. I've done it a few times now, and it seems pretty good, pretty reliable. Yeah, another thing I was going to say, it made me laugh at that Dr. Dre's wife, or soon to be ex. Out of the $2 million a month she was trying to get, only 30 grand of it was like child support and stuff. So if you think I'm being harsh, it's like you're fighting for 30 grand a month for your kids, but 1,970,000 a month for yourself. So there's clearly some selfish motivations in there. 30 grand a month is insane anyway. So again, not saying that, like, the fact that he is in that position is, I'm not saying she should only get like $1 million and that's it, but yeah, was it Jeff Bezos' wife got something like 31 billion? Like, how on earth? How do they like work it in America? Because over here you've got, say, $1 million, you've 100 million, but then if you got to 1,000 million, it's $1 billion. But in America, do they do it like? I'm sure it was something like 100 million is $1 billion, which seems a bit weird. But if she got 31 billion, at the very least, then I believe she got 3,100 million or 31,000 million. Like 31,000 million in a divorce. Imagine that. Be getting the Queen to be able to do pole dancer for me or something. Oh yeah, it reminds me actually, one of the claims she put in was like 25 grand a year, or sorry, a month, for texts and emails. It's like, what are you, hiring Brad Pitt to write them for you? Like, how on earth do you need, what, 300 grand a year to send texts and emails? Like, are you having it delivered by bloody caviar producing sturgeon? Like, how the heck, like, just inventing numbers for the sakes of numbers. I don't think they actually have any awareness of like real life bills and costs and stuff. Anyway, I got across the lake. I was just talking bollocks while we're doing a bit of a drive to deliver the metal pipe. As you can see, one little mistake, it flicked the Vorant over pretty goddamn quickly. But Dolphin's not giving up. Didn't even reverse up for that rock. I fancied risking it by then because I already knew now. Probably a mistake on my part, but the little crane does obviously raise your centre of gravity a little bit. So I don't necessarily regret not bringing a crane on either truck, but at the same time, this is a possibility that you could flip. So yeah, you can see the big crane arm of Bruce. And like I said, I had to drive Bruce all the way from Lake Coved all the way to here. Not that I minded though, it was pretty good reason to test Bruce out across the terrain, across the new map, and like I said, did pretty goddamn well. Got here pretty hassle free, and yeah, put the metal beams back in. And it's basically from where I drive out, like where there's another collapsed bridge there, so you end up using the banks at the side of it. Just drive up the road, there's a fuel tanker thing already sat there. And then yeah, this is number 2 of the metal beams, so that's the mission completed. Broken power station. Payout, not too bad, but I'm not really too fussed about that. Obviously the main reason for doing this is getting the garage. So the next mission appears right next to that fuel tanker, and it's called Broken Power Lines. And as you can see where I am, that yellow square that's roughly in the middle of the map is where I've got to go and get 2 lots of wooden planks from, and those 2 dots to the right of me, the 2 yellow squares, are where I've got to deliver them to. So I'm basically going to do the same, like where I've just drove across that lake. I'm going to cut back across it, back to the main road. The trailer store's just up the road, but I'm going to cut right before I get there. You can see the trailer store just in like the top corner now, top right hand corner. Yeah, there's no bridge there either, so I've just drawn a line across, but you'll see when I get there. I'm going to cut over to the left a bit as I'm approaching it. And yeah, I only need 2 wooden planks, and obviously they're only 1 slot of cargo each. So I could just take the Voron on its own or the Dolphin on its own and grab 2 wooden things and go for it. However, I'm just not chancing it. After looking at the mission, at this point I was kind of umming and ahhing, because I was thinking of it at first with just doing 1 truck, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to drive to one of those first squares, and then I was kind of thinking, how the hell am I going to get from the first square to the second square in a timely fashion? I appreciate I could drive right round and all the rest of it, but then what I had an idea to do was bring both of these for 2 reasons. One, I can now get 4 lots of wooden planks, and if I was to roll 1 truck or anything, I have a spare set of wooden planks. Obviously the second reason, if I was driving along on the way and I tipped the Voron or vice versa, I can flip each other. And then the third reason was, when I get back to this lake, I'm basically going to split the trucks apart, and I was going to go for 1 of each, and you'll see how it ends up turning out in the video. But I'm pretty happy with the way things went in the end. I'm pretty happy with choosing this as my option. It gave me more options, even fuel options. I could decide now to just cut the Dolphin loose. I mean, there'd be no point yet really, because I've got quite a lot of fuel, but I could take the fuel from the Dolphin or vice versa. And like I said, if I was to roll and I lost even 1 wooden plank or whatever, I don't have to now turn around and go all the way back. I've got a second chance. And although there's probably some places it's a bit slower travelling in pairs, but as you see now, once I'm in high gear, it travels along in high anyway, and it was the same with the Dolphin, so I wouldn't really say it. I don't know, I believe the potential benefits outweigh like the gains from just travelling as a single truck. I've done it plenty of times, and yeah, as and when it bites you, there's nothing you can do about it. It's often, as you see, I've usually got a loaf with me, because yeah, there's just always, like, if I roll something, there's a winch option there, or a repair, or fuel, etc. It's just more options that I'd rather travel with. So as we're going along to here, like I said, this bridge is out as well, so you can go left or right. I'm personally going to go left. I've already cut across here before when I was scouting the map, so I just already know that it's fine, basically. I was umming and ahhing for a second about going right, but yeah, I was like, don't even risk it, it's not worth it. I already know this way is good. A little bit slow wading through that snow, but not too bad. It's when it makes you go about half a mile an hour, it just feels needlessly slow. So right in the middle of this, you can see there's a bit of breakable ice. I kind of just about get over it. It's pretty strong, that ice. You can go through it, but it's not ridiculous. Like, it's not, yeah, it's not the weakest one I've drove across. I mean, luckily the Vorongrad's got some nice nose clearance. That I jumped up those ledges pretty well, but then when I drove over this rock, it just kind of kept knocking me over to the left. Really, my steering wouldn't dig in while I was climbing over it, so I wasn't going to make the turn before I hit some trees. But yeah, the Vorongrad and the Dolphin as well both climbed up there pretty easily. The Dolphin's given me a little boost now just to climb over these rocks. I mean, overall with this mission, I think, to be fair, overall on this map so far, touch wood, I've been pretty lucky because I ended up losing the Azov Antarctic in the water because of that slab that kind of glitched into me and jiggled me around, and I just ended up falling off the side. However, I wasn't even going anywhere or doing anything with the Azov Antarctic, so I was just I brought it for the sakes of bringing it. I actually originally was trying to bring it earlier. I rolled it a bit on Lake Covd, and then went out to bring Bruce to put the metal beams back in this Voron. I just quickly flipped the Azov back and brought that as well when I brought Bruce. I was just looking now, just checking. There's a little trailer there that you can find. The road, I suppose, goes right through that trailer, but I cut through here. It's basically the same, and the wood yard or whatever it is, it doesn't really look like much of a yard. But this is where you get the wooden planks from, so that'll do me. Starting to get like a sort of super snow around here. It's not too bad at this section. If I carried on straight instead of turning left to get these, it gets really slow, super snow going all that way. And yeah, like I said, I've got enough wooden planks just on the Voron now, but I'm not even risking it. I'm having 2 sets of them just in case. And obviously, one way or another, if I complete the mission, I'm going to end up with 2 lots of spare wooden planks, but yeah, I'm fine with that. So I'm basically going back the same way that I just drove up here. Getting a little bit more jiggling around now I've got the wooden planks on. To be fair though, the wooden planks aren't really that heavy. They're certainly not some of the heaviest cargo. Like, the concrete slabs are bloody heavy. The metal beams, to be honest, the metal beams didn't actually feel that bad. To be fair, I'd have to do like a side-by-side with the slabs and the metal beams on the same map, but I didn't really notice them that bad once I picked them up and drove them to where I needed to. So I'm essentially going to go... This is kind of a pretty main route, I would say. This is generally my preferred way. Once you cut across those roads and get onto the edge of this lake, it doesn't break. But yeah, you can see where it kind of splits off there, where I could go to the first like destination, but then there's kind of that canyon really, and the water between the two. And at the time I was thinking, I don't really want to loop right back round. Obviously that was going to be my plan. If not, I wasn't anti doing it, but I was just looking around, kind of feeling like that wasn't the smoothest of ways. There could be a bit of a better way. So that's that like cliff ledges I just bumped up a minute ago. There's where I cut across the breakable ice this time, especially because I've got the wooden planks on the back. I do punch through the ice, but the Voron's pretty good at climbing through there. The Dolphin is as well, so I've got through there, no issues really. Another nice thing, even though I could be in high now, I'm travelling along just fine in auto, but having those tandem trucks, as I drove over those chunks of ice after I was through that middle bit, it didn't smash my suspension or everything. I often find, even the same with a loaf, if I'm towing a loaf behind the Dolphin, it may give you like a few % top speed reduction even when you're in high gear, but you're essentially wound up the engine in high gear, so it's basically the same speed. But it just seems to make that little difference where I don't take as much damage usually, especially when I'm towing something, even if I'm towing it faster than this. Like I said, if I'm usually just ticking along in high range. And yeah, again with the Voron being the lead truck, it's going pretty nicely. One thing I do like with the Vorongrad is it does go into high gear very nicely, and it very rarely stalls. If I was at a dead stop and I tried setting off in high range, it would do the stalling thing, but you can be going about a 1 mile an hour and put it into high gear and it'll wind, like it'll actually wheel spin rather than stall. And also, if I was driving now and I hit something to where I slowed down to almost nothing, it will still wheel spin rather than stall, which I prefer, because even if I'm now going to be best off changing it into auto or whatever, the fact that I haven't lost my revs and any momentum I might have, etc. It's just, yeah, once something says stalling, you lose all your momentum and grip and speed, obviously, because there's no power going to the wheels, and it just, like, sometimes that half a second pause can, like, you can stop and sink down in a bit of an awkward place. That little bit travelling there, by the way, I just cut it out. I did go in on the way back because I've already been over there 3 times now. It's just a straight section, there's nothing you're missing, it's literally just icy boggy mud for probably 20 truck lengths, and yeah, it took me about, I don't know, a couple of minutes each time, 2 or 3 minutes, so I ended up saving like 6 or 7 minutes probably out of the video just by, yeah, jumping forward 20 truck lengths. But like I said, even if you've not been on this map, you could easily follow this video and get this done basically, and then once you've got the garage, you can yeah, recover all sorts there. Well, not just recover, but you can obviously spawn trucks now. So at this point, I'm back on the lake, and yeah, one way to turn off is if I go right now in the Voron, and then I could do with kind of going straight on for the second one. So, like I said, I'm going to split them in half, give it a little love tap on the way past. And yeah, this one's got less fuel at the minute, so I already knew down here I've left that maintenance trailer rolled over on its side next to Bruce, so I knew I could grab more fuel. And I suppose at this point that's near enough what made the only difference really. If this one had more fuel than the Voron Grad, then I probably would have done them like alternating ways. The Voron Grad's just got a much bigger fuel tank than this. Like I said, this is like one of the biggest limitations of this. They've I don't think it's crazy on fuel, it's just got a small fuel tank. A lot of trucks this size have got getting on for double, like, well, they're at least in the 300s. I think Bruce has got 350 litres, the Tager's got 330. This has got, I can't see it because it's next to snow, but well over 300 anyway. Yeah, so I refueled the Dolphin, and now I'm going to cut up from the lake, and you can see it on the map. It's a road I'm following, it's not like some random invented route I'm doing. At the top of here there's a bunker, just a bit, you know, like an old World War II bunker or whatever, a bit like there is on Lake Covd. I'm not sure if in a future mission I'll have to go explore it, like, you know, discover the bunkers as part of some mission, like I had to, I think, drive to all 3 of them on Lake Covd. Yeah, going up here, it's a bit slow, it's a little bit precarious. I thought for a second there I might go, but credit to the Voron Grad. I will say at this point, actually, while I remember, I've obviously got single chained on at the minute. I mean, you can take, I'd say take your chances. I'm not trying to say single or double, better either way. All I will say personally is, obviously, the double chained are going to sit wider, so you're less likely to tip. In some terrains and stuff, the twin chained would be fine. When you're kind of jiggling around and climbing over rocks and that, I do think to a degree the singles just, I don't know, like if you're trying to squeeze through a gap in some rocks, they can cut through it quite nicely. With a double chained, it is like a big block of wheel where there isn't really much give within the dimensions of the, like, dual rears basically, whereas this, yeah, they kind of do squidge more, and they can, it just feels like you can yeah, quite a lot of the times going off-roading with dual rears, once you prop like a bit of the tyre up on a rock, and it kind of lifts the whole axle up. So yeah, personally, obviously, as you can see, I chanced it with the single rears. That's generally what I leave on anyway, but I'm not knocking the dual rears. I reckon in some situations they'd be pretty handy on this. To be fair, I don't think on this whole mission that I can remember, I don't think I rolled the Voron Grad anyway, so I suppose in that sense the only one that went was, yeah, the Dolphin, and that was, I mean, it happens with any truck. I'm not saying the Dolphin's unrollable, but I hit a bit of a, I got a bit unlucky amongst other things. Like, I've certainly took my chances more than that with it and made it out just fine, but yeah, that time it was having none of it. So this still is now a road, apparently. That pretty big rock I just drove over though, that did go like down the centre of the chassis I suppose pretty nicely. It didn't really give me much hassle there at all. So there's the bunker on the left. And again, this is a road up to this point, technically, apparently, according to this game. As you go a little bit further along here though, it basically sort of turns into nothing. And this was originally where I was starting to think, like, how am I going to get to that one and then over to the next one without essentially doubling right back on myself? I will just say, by the way, 'cause I believe I forgot to say it, during the, like, when I was grabbing the metal beams, I ended up essentially not doubling back on myself completely, but I went back down the hill and essentially went round the long way because risking cutting across and rolling, I didn't even want to chance it, especially that there was no garage, and if I roll, I've got to recover to Lake Coved. Yeah, like I said, as I went a bit further on, I was just judging. I wasn't sure how easily I'd be able to squeeze through some of them rocks, but this certainly looked like the better way to me. But as you can see on the map there, to my right, I suppose, there's another road that's cutting through that you'd be able to sort of cut over to this. But I personally think this is the best route to go, the route I took. I'm not just saying that because I took it, but you'll see in a second why. Obviously, once I got here, it turns out the rocks were pretty easy. Like, there's a gap here where I can go down. There's a little bit of a ledge to jump down, but I wasn't too worried. Like I said, I could get an unlucky bounce, maybe. I suppose I was willing to chance it. I suppose one of the reasons I was willing to chance it is I had the dolphin. You know, that's already got wooden planks on it as well, so I wouldn't necessarily have to go back to get more if I did roll. But yeah, get here, fix one of the what's it called, power line poles. That's only one lot of planks gone. And basically this is the road in front of me, and you could cut up here, but as you'll see, I got stuck pretty well going this way, and obviously you can have a sideboard on or a flatbed or whatever because you've got cargo. So I'm glad I went the way I did rather than having to like be facing the opposite way that I am now and cutting over here. And basically when I got to that rock I had about 65 litres of fuel or whatever. By the time I was pulling on the winch to get me over and out of this little crappy bit, I was down to like 45 odd litres, and as you'll see I was almost close to like kind of getting a home run on this mission. And then yeah, fuel certainly played a part. When I just dropped those wooden planks off, what I originally did was then go to my dolphin and I was going to drive to the next one, but then just out of curiosity while I was sat here and I could see this road in front of me and I had 65 odd litres left, I was like, I just wanted to try it then. I thought, well, I might be able to make it at a squeeze. But yeah, that kind of abandoned mission by the time I even got through that narrow rock gap. But I already had it in my head then just to see if this was even a viable route to begin with. I suppose partly for my own curiosity, possibly for future routes, but also just to let you guys know while I'm doing it, just kind of show you what I reckon in the end was the best way to go about it. I still think so far I'm happy with taking both trucks. I'm happy with the route I took with the metal beams. Yeah, I'm glad I took both trucks to get the wooden planks. I'm glad I split them apart where I did and kind of sent one on either path, so I had more options available to me. And I suppose things did go well with this truck and I got this far, but imagine if I did roll it now or anything. It's yeah, I'd be looking at either having to drive something to this thing with a crane to load it back in, or bring something all the way from Lake Coved, then to the whatever that wood yard thing is. It wasn't really a wood yard, but yeah, you can get wood from it, so it is now. Yeah, some pretty serious super snow. I don't really know what was going on. I'm not sure if there's like one of those tree roots underneath a bit that I was caught on. But it is definitely getting like a little bit awkward down here. I was almost thinking, oh please don't, but we're good. Like the Voron can go pretty sideways before it actually does roll, which is one thing I definitely do like about it. Because the front axle sits quite nice and wide as well, it's like, even though when your front tips a bit, it's got that like, you can kind of grip with the side of your wheel outside the kind of centre of gravity of the truck, so it flicks it back rather than digs under and helps you tip. And yeah, right now, if you're watching the fuel like I was 20 litres, well, I'm not sure. If I'd still had about 35 to 40 litres now, I reckon I would have been alright, but yeah, just getting through that rock gap, that's what did it. And I didn't even have time to waste that. I just attached a winch to the tree in front as soon as I could. I only edited it out, one for time, two, it took me about 30 seconds to bloody find where the winch point was going, like scrolling through them. Yeah, by now though, it's a shame, because this way actually looks a lot more, I don't know, truck friendly, shall I say, than it does on the map really. Like, there is basically some rocks over the water, you barely have to even go very deep in the water. Even scouts would get over here, and I certainly wouldn't recommend bringing a scout with a scout fuel trailer to bring this here, but yeah, by now the fuel's just getting me. I think it's starting to do that thing where the truck kind of judders a little bit as it's running out of fuel. And sadly, just up that hill there to my left is where I've got to drop this wood off. It's like it's mere yards away. Like I said, another, I don't know, 5 to 10 litres. But fortunately, backup truck sent that round, and it's only down the river really. And this is another good thing. Looking on the map, I was like, it's probably going to be a bit dodgy. But if you actually drive under that bridge, jump off here at the end, it's pretty shallow water. There's a few porter cabins floating around there. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll have to come and recover them at some point, but won't worry about them for now. Yeah, this water's like pretty shallow and usable compared to what it looks like on the map. I wasn't sure if it was just going to be pretty deep and trollish and annoying most of the way, but the dolphin's ploughing through things pretty well. Obviously, while I'm able to, I may as well cut along the left of the river. But the water's flowing against me at the minute, so that is going to go against me in the next 30 seconds or so, as you'll see. So while I'm sticking onto like these rocky bits that are at the edge, kind of the lesser of two evils really, because as you'll see, this porter cabin thing floating in the water, I ended up cutting some of it out for time, but when I drove forward there, you can see my lines in the mud. Like in that yellow square, it was actually quite muddy ground, and once I drove through there, a combination of being stuck on the rocks a bit, the water flowing against me, and the fact that the ground went pretty boggy, I just wasn't able to drive any further forward, so I winched to that porter cabin, pulled myself backwards out of there. You can see now, that's why I stuck to the left so much, because I'd already just learnt that it gets pretty muddy in the middle. You can't really tell until it's too late. It still looks like it's quite a firm rock bed, but yeah, it's not really. But luckily though, the winch was able to reach the Voron, so I already knew by then I'd be alright. Winch to it, they started tipping up a little bit, so I just wanted to jump in it, make sure. I mean, it wouldn't have made much difference either way, because I'd have been able to get the dolphin out of there, or yeah. I was able to pass some fuel over though, to the Voron Grad. And like I said, this was just, it's the last little bit of fuel I needed. What did it have in it? I think it was like 77 or something when I passed the fuel over, so thankfully that rock didn't roll any further and go under my rear wheel. So what, they used about 5 litres so far, so yeah, I could have done with another 10 litres max and I reckon I would have been alright. And that was it, just up here. And you can see the square on the floor there. And this is basically it. This is the 2 missions you've got to do. But just to throw out a word of caution for people who get this far, if I go now to click recover to garage, it wouldn't let me, or it said recover to Lake Coved garage. And all it is now I've unlocked the garage. I've got to physically drive to the garage and discover it, and then all of a sudden, I was towing the Voron Grad and it rolled. I accidentally bloody recovered the dolphin instead of refueled it, so now I'm down to Bruce, and I was like, all I gotta do is drive to the garage, like, we're good. Bruce can handle the situation. Oh my god, game, are you serious? So in the space of like a minute, I lost the Grad, the dolphin, and Bruce. However, old Brucey, he's not an amateur, he's a low professional, he's been low trained. You see what I've said before with a hit and recover crane? It's jiggling it around, it's making it sink through the ice. It's just tipping me, now it kind of pops back up through the ice. Able to start the engine. Good times. We're not done yet. Still got a chance. Still got a chance to make it. The goddamn Bruce of a vehicle. So we made it. That's all you got to do is drive up here. Garage discovered. That's it. I can now unlock it. Well, it is unlocked. I can recover stuff and all sorts. Click there to move to garage. So yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope that helps. I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon. Loaf, loaf, loaf. He always makes it in a video. He's a goddamn professional.